My name's Cam Gregg from One Agency West Coast, and welcome to this week's Real Estate Revealed. We're down here today at Lake Claremont enjoying the fresh air and the serenity of this beautiful location behind me. Thanks to the Friends of Lake Claremont and the town of Claremont, the lake has undergone a major environmental rehabilitation program and is now an absolute delight to visit. So do yourself a favour this long weekend and come on down and see what the great work that they've actually done. Well, today's Real Estate Reveal is what are the best tactics to win at auction. So you want to buy a property that's going to auction. What are your best tactics? Well, the auction day arrives, you'll have two responses with bidding about to commence. You'll either want to bring it on, be all positive, let's go for it, or the other is that you're unsure, you don't feel well, you feel sick in the stomach and your legs are a little bit jelly-like, so you're nervous. Well, on occasions, there's a third response. It's where a buyer decides that they can outwit everyone else and they're going to play by their rules. Unfortunately, it usually ends in disaster. One of the keys to successfully purchasing at auction is always be holding the final bid when a property is passed in. Let me give you an example. Only a few months back, I was bidding at an auction on behalf of a client. Their luck was in because there wasn't much competition in the way of others bidding. The auctioneer advised that the reserve hadn't been reached and the property was passed in to me. Fortunately, I had the last bid, so as is tradition, in this scenario, the property was passed in to me. What this means is the auctioneer was giving me the first and exclusive opportunity with the reserve price as the starting point to negotiate a successful deal on the property. In we went, we sat down at the dining table, and 10 minutes later, we walked out with my jubilant client, having us negotiated a price that was somewhere between my last bid in the auction and the reserve price of the seller. All parties were happy. It was a win-win scenario, which is always a great conclusion to any negotiation. Now, at this point, a gentleman steps up from the crowd, up to the agent and states that he'd like to put an offer in. The response, obviously, from the agent was he was sorry, but the property's just been sold, and he then proceeded to tell him the price. Now, you could immediately spot the frustration on the man's face, but I can offer you $10,000 more. You could see how disappointed he was. Unfortunately, you're too late, I'm sorry, was the agent's response. And we all slipped away quietly as the man was left literally scratching his head, what the heck just happened? Now, the critical part to all of this was this gentleman was at the auction but did not bid. This was a shining example of someone either trying to be way too clever or simply not knowing the rules of the game. He would have had his budget and a great opportunity to secure a property in an open and transparent auction environment. His biggest mistake was that he chose to keep his hand down and not bid. He gave up any power he had by allowing me to put in the last bid before the property was passed in, and thereby forfeiting the right to negotiate exclusively with the selling agent. So, the golden rule at bidding at auction is always be holding the final bid when a property is passed in. If you want that property, there's simply too much risk attached to allowing someone else to have that prized position. This example that I've just shared with you isn't unique. I've seen it on many occasions where underbidders have been hovering around outside a property while negotiations are going on inside the house. It's a fatal mistake that some buyers make, and it's treating the auctioneer as their enemy. Like most great life lessons, become too clever and you'll get caught out. My name's Cam Gregg from One Agency West Coast, and that's this week's Real Estate Reveal. If you have any requests of what you'd like us to reveal in a future segment, please let us know. We're always looking for new ideas because ultimately it's you that really matters. We've got heaps of really useful real estate tips available on our website. Simply visit oneagencywestcoast.com.au, and don't forget, if you've seen us on Facebook, you've got this now, like our page and you'll never have to worry about missing an episode. Until next time, thanks for watching.